Hello everyone. The sun is shining, the cuckoos are clucking, and Ganon left the answer sheet under our bed. This is the bronze match for the 2020 Link to the Past Spoiler Log Tournament between Zelda and relkin. These guys are both really, really good. This is game one, so you haven't missed anything so far. This is going to be a show. If you have not seen how this works, basically our runners get 15 minutes and they have the spoiler log for that entirety of the time. So they have all the item locations, they have the rupee crab drops, the tree pulls, everything they could need to run through this. And when that 15 minutes is over, they go. So you're going to see a bunch of skip checks and some really, really low percent. I am Hammer Bro in the booth today, and I am joined by Wolflink. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing very good. And yeah, this is going to be a very hype finals match here. We've already taken a look at the spoiler log. We're not going to say where anything is, but this is going to be an interesting race. Let's just say that much.
There are fast races and there are fun races. And I'd like to think this is going to be one of the fun ones.
Yeah.
I also love relkin. We are bad.
Now, of note, folks, as you can see down below in our tracker before we get started here, we already have the pendants and crystals laid out for you here. That's because our runners are not going to be doing a map check. That information is one of the things provided to them by the spoiler log, as are the medallion requirements for the 2 dungeons. Then that, is, of course, is Sam of us giving those items up for you tonight as our tracker. And already some diversions to start off. We have a Sanctuary start from Zelda and a... looks to be a Link's Uncle start from relkin, and Link's House having some extra bombs. And those bombs probably influenced his routing choice here, because bombs are one of the first things you look for to start out your run.
Now, that's one of the big things. You really want to get bombs early if you can, or at the very least rupees, so you can buy bombs early. Because we're not going to be picking up a bunch of chests. Management of your rupees, your bombs, and your arrows becomes very, very important through every stage. I've seen several races won and lost because people weren't careful about that. So it'll be interesting to see how they choose. Whoa, half magic. Heck.
Lots of items already. We've got 6 bombs plus half magic on Zelda's side. Meanwhile, relkin finds the Cane of Samari, and I think also checked the secret passage chest, which I believe was the bug net. You'll need to see a menu if you actually pick it up. There's the hammer, though, on Zelda's side.
That is a really, really nice early item.
Bow as well.
Yeah, it is crucial for Dark World access. It's also a nice weapon if you don't have anything else.
And a sword, so... Kakariko will get you loaded for combat. Just right out the gate.
Yeah, no kidding. It is... They are just saying, hey, come and get it. Now go kill everyone. Have fun.
relkin taking a death early here. Looks to be trying to muscle his way through the dark rooms without a sword, which is doable but very difficult because you don't see where you are and the enemies in there are completely random.
Yeah, I can't believe relkin is doing this with basically nothing. That is... oof.
It is a fairly aggressive play, I'll admit, but it could work out for him. Now, of course, folks, there is one thing to note here as well, that as we see the Moon Pearl here from Zelda's end, that's a nice find. This does not follow the normal randomizer restriction in terms of being in an isolated booth, so to speak. The runners are allowed to see each other's streams, or even watch the restream here, as this was a normal energy race. And the gloves were in Dark Cross. So, combined, we already have Dark World access.
And that's an interesting spot for those gloves. Given how we do the logic nowadays for this particular version, a fire rod will give us logical access to that glove, not just a lamp. So as long as we can get our hands on a fire source, that will put the that glove within logic.
Runners are mini Moldarn Cave, doing different strategies here. Zelda with the sword is just absolutely destroying these mini Moldarns, and gets the slivers for it, or for himself.
Yeah, Zelda definitely having the easier time with that sword. It's a little bit of fun with that Samaria block.
Ooh, Crow taking another heart off. Zelga's at 1 HP. And is heading to Zora.
Yeah, we know it's not Zora himself, since I don't think Zora is in the company of giving us 6 rupee items. But hey, how about a fire rod up on the ledge?
That puts the gloves that Relkin picked up in logic too, as you mentioned earlier. And this is why Relkin didn't go to Kakariko to get the hammer. I see now. Very smart. Relkin is most likely going to be doing a south-north play in Kakariko, which will set him up to go to Darkworld at Village of Outcasts immediately.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a riskier play to begin with, but then being able to skip one trip to Kakariko for doing it. So a little bit of time lost now, a little bit of time gained later.
Yeah, very wise play. The death might have set him back a little bit in terms of pacing, but it should otherwise be fairly efficient.
Now it looks like Zelda's going to be retracing some steps here. Going to go say hello to the wonderful uncle.
Relkin's going to be going ahead and picking up Fire Rod now. So both runners with the Fire Rod.
Yep, and that is going to make this trip into Dark Cross a little bit easier for Zelda.
Indeed. Plus with the half match, no less. And yeah, here's the south-north play for Relkin. So Zelda can opt for going through via the Plains Warp over here, is the best way I can put it.
Wow, Relkin decided to try and grab some bombs on the way, and both those 50-50s just said, no thank you, keep moving.
I've been there, honestly. Alright, there's the glove for Zelda. Zelda with the first Darkworld axis, which puts Zelda in the lead temporarily. Of course, the lead can shift by any number of factors, just better routing, a death or two can happen, a mistake in realizing, oh, I could use these keys this way instead of that way, and that would have been faster. It can matter quite a bit when we get into the later stages. Especially sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, not to mention the fact that, like, this is a spoiler log race, and there's not really a whole lot of time to gain or lose either way, so every mistake is just gonna be ridiculously amplified.
Yeah, not only that, as I was about to mention, our runners have not found a single heart container yet, or armor, and going to Darkworld this early without those is fairly dangerous. It looks like Zelda's actually not going that way, and instead going up the mountain.
Yep, meanwhile, Relkin is finishing up here, grabbing a bow and a couple other wonderful things along the way, like a sword. Yeah, honestly, like you were saying, with this 3 hearts is a hook shot from the old man. That's a terrible spot for that. Boy, am I glad we have the spoiler log for this one.
I think that's a really good spot for that, honestly. Well, if you knew it was there.
Exactly.
That just lets you clean up your routing quite nicely, or going straight east.
Oh! Sorry, that was close.
Yeah, Zelda almost getting crushed by the boulders there. Has to be extremely careful.
I'm pretty sure that was a haircut.
Yeah, one hit here, and Venus is going to be taking a nap.
Do you think he'll have an objection to that?
More than likely.
Okay, just trying to get that squared away.
And something is in Paradise Cave that Zelda wants. Ah, first heart container.
I don't blame you. I'd go all the way into Hera for a heart container at this point.
You know, you just reminded me that they actually do have access to Hera.
Of course, that's why we're up here, isn't it?
Oh, Master Sword would have been nice. It is a little bit strange, though, I will admit. Just thinking about this scene. We can kind of read the seed here just a little bit. Why would they go to Hera so soon when it'll be easier to have it be the last dungeon?
I mean, presumably there's something sitting up here.
It has to be.
Which, I mean, so we do have a lot of items, but there's also a bunch of stuff we're missing. We, at the very least, are going to need ether, another glove, a flute. The mirror would be nice. That's going to be, you know, I guess not necessarily... Well, yeah, required for swamps. We're going to need that. Maybe boots for desert. Like, we've got a handful of things.
Speaking of boots, we're seeing a boots list set up for Harapot. Not quite.
Ooh.
Vicky is right there, thankfully, but Zug will have to take the climb up. And honestly, I think this is the better play because that clip is a little bit easier with the boots, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it depends upon your preference. The boot setup is very touchy, so if you're really good at very quick direction movements, then you can do it. But the bomb setup is good if you're more of a fan of like the hammer jump sort of setups where you can set things up after getting a bomb set up. They're both pretty picky, but if you have a situation where like the big key is in its vanilla location, then it can save a bunch of time. Less so now, as we do have a big key sitting right there, so it wasn't really a big deal, but still worth a shot if you could pull it off.
And Relkin now has 5 hearts, which he got in a set of 4 heart pieces that we didn't see. And Zelda picked up the small key in Tower Hera.
So that's one of two things. That was either a whoops, I didn't mean to do that, I thought it was something else, or it's a muscle memory, I guess we could throw it in there. Or we're gonna have a coffee break.
Coffee at this hour? I can believe it sometimes, actually.
I mean, we don't know what time zone these guys are in.
Fair. Fair.
And plus, you gotta practice rando, man. Time waits for no one. Yeah, Relkin seeming to have a very similar clip to what Zelda did. Yep, and we're headed back in. Yay!
Yep, it's got coffee break seed. Something important is down here. We don't know what. And that's also another reason why they had to come up here with the fire rod.
The best part of waking up, it's Moldorm in your cup. Sorry.
You threw me off there a little bit. That was just a what the moment for me.
That coffee pump is so bad, I'm about to get grounded.
I think you need to switch to decaf. Anyway. It's time for Relkin to be fighting Mulder. Meanwhile, Zelgadissan is heading into the big key chest room here in Hera. What is inside? We waited 30 seconds roughly for this. It's the mirror.
Oh well, it's not like I had the spoiler log.
Oh wait.
Dang it, I was drinking water, man. You're killing me.
And Zelda can immediately use the mirror after leaving Hera. And that's tempered already. We're only 15 minutes in.
I mean, honestly, that would have come in handy for Moldorm, but Moldorm didn't give either of them too much difficulty, so no loss there.
Indeed. Alright, now we're starting to see the Dark World place, and looks like, yep. 4 hearts, tempered sword. This should be smooth sailing.
Yeah, but let's talk about smooth sailing here for a minute. If we're going to head into Pod, which is full clearable at this point, well, without the lamp technically not, but when has that ever stopped us? Zelda's going to need some money, just saying.
Maybe that's why Zelda's going to Hype Cave.
I thought Hype Cave was good for, like, progression.
Seems to be not the case these days. There's a heart container, though. These chest turns, though, are pretty nice from Zelda. That's up, and there's the 4th heart piece for Zelda, getting up to 6 total. And without armor, they want to be at about 9 hearts for them to be safe from any sort of one-shot. They're still in danger from getting killed by a chain chomp, I think, at this stage.
Oh yeah, chain chomps are brutal. I mean, hopefully with TR being a crystal, we won't really, or being a pendant, we won't have to deal with those, but yeah, chain chomps are still murder.
Well, no matter what, we're gonna have to deal with Ganon. Hey, there's the Titan Smiths on Floating Island.
Yeah, but no one gets hit during a Ganon fight, come on, man.
I mean, that's fair. At least not contact damage, which is where that damage comes from. Going into ice, though, that's a pendant dungeon.
At least we have the Cane of Samaria?
Folks, with SpeedGaming 2 are not joining us. Let's hope you guys are enjoying the show. Oh, we are currently about 15 minutes into a spoiler log scene, and as you can see, Zelda is entering Pendant Ice, whereas Relkin has just entered Dark World. Relkin taking an early death in Dark Cross, trying to get to the Power Gloves early.
Looks like we've got some more divergence. Relkin is headed over towards Stumpy / Cave 45 area. Wonder what's going to be over here.
Well, Stumpy has something for us.
Oh, so that's pretty telling right there. Zelda did not go back. And, oh my goodness, that icebreaker was insane. Holy cow. Anyways, Zelda did not go back and hit the switch to turn the blocks. So this is not going to be a clear of Ice Palace.
And sure enough, there is the flute here in Ice Palace, and that is all Zelda wants. Strange. I'm just double checking the spoiler log. I must have got confused by reading it. I thought that was the compass just, the map, and I thought the pain gauges was map, but I guess those are backwards in my head.
And that is a very important distinction when dealing with the spoiler log. There are a lot of chests that'll say map chest, compass chest, big key chest. All of those can be confused when you're trying to run through 216 item locations in 15 minutes. It's not nearly as much time as you think it is.
Yeah, it can get really confusing. Anyway, flute coming online now for Zelgadissan. Where will Zelda go first with the flute? We can't enter Mire just yet. We don't have a medallion. Or rather, the medallion we need.
I mean, I think at this point, if you're feeling pretty good about your health, Pod Eastern's a good place if you want to clear some stuff. We can also do Desert at this point if boots are not required. And depending on where that Ether Medallion is, you know, it could be sitting either on the ledge here or in Desert itself. So we might be able to full clear 2 crystals right here as well. We'll have to see.
So entering Mire should to start things off. Something must be here. Gold, sword, and 50 rupees as well. This doesn't look like a desert play to me. This looks like checkerboard.
So if he just played the flute and now has butter, is he the bard with lard? I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Alright, what is in Checkerboard Cave that Zelda wants? Quake medallion.
No, 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 no. No, that is not something I wanted to see picked up.
Hey,
Oh
so
no. Oh no, Quake medallion, and we're headed straight for Turtle Rock.
Yep. Without the ice rod, though, it should tell us one of two things. One, we're not, again, like in Ice Palace, we're not looking to clear Turtle Rock. Or ice rod's in Turtle Rock, and we somehow need to get to whatever it is in there.
Yeah, that's fair. You could have a situation where Trinex is holding a wonderful required item for us. At this point, I feel like we can be pretty sure that Pet is dead, since I'm fairly certain Zelda would have just cleared Ice Palace one-shot with what he had. But Trinex is still very much a possibility if that ice rod is sitting somewhere fun, like, I don't know, Laser Bridge, powder on the floating island.
I mean, that could be nice to have, but I don't think they're going to be going to get it. Relkin, meanwhile, in chat, having some time to say slow down to Zelda. I don't know if Zelda's watching or not, but it's pretty humorous if he was. And that is allowed, folks, as a reminder. Our runners are allowed to be here and chat with us here to chime in about the race, or even watch each other's race streams. That is normally a randomizer rule that's set in stone, and that you have to be in sort of like an isolation booth when you're doing these races. But that restriction is lifted for Spoiler Log, because there's no point.
You know, for a second, I thought you were going to say that is allowed. Zelda is allowed to slow down if he wants to, and I was going to laugh really, really hard. But yeah, that is a good point. We do play them a lot closer to NMG seeds than we would a normal randomizer, because, well, theoretically, we know where everything is. For some value of no, that's something less than 100% and something greater than 0.
It looks like Zelda will be going a little bit deeper into Turtle Rock than we realize. Oh boy.
I mean, to be fair, there are 2 chests here. It could just be right here. Maybe. Please?
Cheese monkeys. This tells me something that is deep in here. Because the fire rod makes this dungeon fire rod locked, I believe.
Yes. Yes, that's a good point. With those 2 keys back here, unless there's also a key here.
Nope, that's silver arrows.
Yeah, so this is definitely fire rod locked. And those silvers are actually a pretty nice pickup. That's about 20 seconds out of your way, maybe? And that's going to save at least 45 seconds on Ganon, as well as probably some time on Vidi, and just making some things easier. So it's definitely a good pickup since you're right here.
Yeah, we have pretty much all the bosses that are weak to arrows still alive for both runners, so it's definitely a good pickup. Ooh, that chain chomp is just hovering over that chest. And inside is the big key.
Alright, so it's gone from bad to worse at this point. Like, that big key opens up pretty much everything. Yeah. We can't even hope it's the lava chest at this point, so, how far are we gonna go?
We have a question in chat about the rules of the spoiler log. They are allowed to study for 15 minutes once the study period begins, and after that they are allowed to revisit it if needed, but they are obliged to start doing their route after the 15 minutes have passed.
Yep, you have 15 minutes of specifically allotted study time, and as much time as you want to look at it later. Just good luck keeping one eye on the spoiler log and the other eye on not dying in Turtle Rock with 6 hearts screaming out.
Yeah, this is one of the more difficult dungeons. We are going all the way down, it looks like.
Yeah, and this room this room can be surprisingly difficult without a lamp. So usually our runners can get through it no problem, but I've seen some people have difficulty with it as of late. And a lot of times the problem isn't in knowing what to press, but it's in either being a second early or a second late, and then something goes wrong and you just have no idea where you are.
Yeah. Thankfully, there is, like, you can use the fire bars to sort of, like, tell you which direction you're going. And at some points, it's just automatic which direction you hold at some points. Because once you change direction in the latter half of it, I've come to find that you just have to change directions, like, 3 times. After you notice that you've changed position. And we've gone all the way to Laser Bridge.
Safety door?
Must be something... They probably don't want to climb all the way back down here after a failed laser skip, which makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, especially with no boots in hand. So, are we going to see an ice rod here?
No, we're going to see the boots.
Okay, that's just going to take you right there. Okay, so boots unlocks a handful of things. So that's not too terribly surprising. We do have King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks, as well as a couple of torches, one sitting in GT quite a bit later, one in Desert, as well as just kind of making everything faster and more fun. That is not an... way to get to that, those Pegasus rocks there. So, yeah, not a bad play by Zelda.
Inside these Pegasus rocks. Alright. Alright, Gabe, I see what you did here. Oh,
it's at this point that you really wish that Zelda had the ability to turn the medallion 90 degrees and just use it.
Pretty much. So, just to walk you through how the logic here, folks, in case you're understanding, we had to go to Mire to get the Quake Medallion from Checkerboard Cave, use the Quake Medallion to go all the way through Turtle Rock to get our boots, so that we can go bonk those rocks to get Ether, so we can go back to Mire, or later, to go actually do Misery Mire.
Hey, to be fair, though, at least we're in Go mode.
That is true, we are actually in Go mode, I didn't even see that.
And Go mode with 6 dungeons left, this is going to be a blink and you miss it second half of this one.
Yeah, Zelda's opting to start out with Blind, and Blind is probably the most difficult boss to fight of these that are left.
Yeah, fair. Given what we have at this point, like, Vitreous can be difficult, but with Silvers, unless you make a misstep, you'll be fine. And pretty much everything else is going to be trivial between Half Magic, Fire Rod, Silvers, Butter Sword. Oh, yeah. With a God Pixel lineup that just got Patrick starred. So we're going to want to be careful here. Most of the enemies at this point do 2 hearts of contact damage, so don't get hit.
Yeah, these mice, these are mice in terms of AI, but they are Dark World variations called buzzes. And they do a lot of damage. A lot of enemies have a heavy damage here in the late game of, or rather in the mid game, I guess, of Link to the Past. Now, Relkin is behind and doesn't have the gold sword, opting not to pick it up in Mire Shed. Could, of course, still do that a little bit later. But right now, Relkin is hoping that Zelda makes a mistake, like get a death or something. Which, Blind is very likely to kill you. Because if you get off pattern, that fight is a literal nightmare. And if you die on the first attempt, it's not an easy fight to do with 6 Heart Scream Mail.
I mean, at this point, I'm not too worried about any one single boss. Zelda is ahead and has shown a bit of an execution advantage over Relkin, but it's only about a minute and a half, and we have plenty of this race left.
Indeed. So far, so good with the setup here. Using the brake coil there to get in a position to dodge the initial fireball. And an absolutely perfect blind fight. No damage. It's perfect dance. And that is the cape on blind as well, which will help with the later fights as well. So more reason to fight blind early.
Relkin just took a cricket hit down to 2 hearts himself. I'm not quite sure how Relkin took a cricket hit, to be honest. I saw that door entry, and that seems like shenanigans to me, but, you know, it's a 90s game. Crickets are mean. These things happen. You know, Zelda also needs some more money. Just gonna throw that out there. We're only at 84 rupees right now.
That is true. It is picking up the lamp now. So yeah, Zelda needs about another 25 more rupees here in order to pay Kiki the monkey. And he could get it from stun prize, he could get it from drops. Although the spoiler log tells you about the stun prize. Which I don't think we saw. Or could just get it going through the fight. It's here in the swamp.
I love how Zelda didn't even spam the mirror button. Just one time.
Well, yeah, all you need to do is hit that button while it's moving. You don't need to spam it, per se. If you have the timing down or an audio cue, you can easily get that every single time. Broken down with blind defeated. Likewise, a pretty perfect fight there. Relkin is getting out the flute.
Since Relkin doesn't need to grab that lamp, there's a little bit of time saved there. It does look like Relkin's going to be headed towards Swamp, following Zelda in.
Yeah, and at this point I'd say they're about a minute and a half behind on average, I'd say. So the gap will be shrinking and gaining depending on how good or bad the boss fights get. This is a boss fight coming up here that time can be saved if you can get a 0 cycle. And then a quick kill afterwards. Which both runners should have no trouble getting. And we're going to see another trick here from zelgadissan known as Diver Down. Nicely done there too, using the hook shot to kill the Chew before it got out of the ground. That is something I don't see that many people doing.
Well, in order to make it worth it, your menus have to be fast.
Indeed. If you need those little pests out of your way, that is like one of the best tools to use because you don't have to wait for them to completely form before you can kill them.
Ah, Relkin using the wonderful swag hammer dash. Although, honestly, with the combination of my username and the fact that Relkin's using a Mario skin, it seems like something was stolen from me.
A couple of quick spins, and that's it for Zelda. And there's 50 rupees on Argus, which makes Zelda's routing choice all the better. Zelda now has the money to go into Palace of Darkness. And look at how cleanly these dungeons are laid out here. We have Pod Eastern, and then we have Mire Desert for our last 2 dungeons.
Yep, it's going to be 2 doubles to go, and it looks like we were starting with the bow duo over here, Pod and Easter. Not a bad idea. It's a little bit easier than the other two, and if there's anything in here like, I don't know, some more hearts or maybe a male upgrade, it'll make Meyer a bit less scary.
Bet. Now, someone is actually asking how that Argus might go so fast. I actually blinked and missed it, to be perfectly honest. If your execution's on point, the Melses will just absolutely melt.
If we're lucky, we'll get to see a repeat here from Relkin, and then you'll get to see it happen really, really fast again.
The puff's already gone. Oh, there they go. That is a 0 cycle. And a silver arrow shot to the brain of Argus. That is done and done. That is both very quick fights there. I don't think you can do any better on Argus, actually.
No, I'm fairly certain that's pretty much maximizing the Argus death rate.
And that just goes to show you just how high the level of play these runners have right now. If they can hit that sort of thing. Because that is something, I will admit, is beyond my capability. And I played this randomizer on my own time.
Alright, so Pod is devolving into what it usually does during a spoiler log race. Where is the big key?
It's not devolving as much as it would be in normal play, at least. Well, there's the big key, at least.
Yep, and with one small key in hand, we are ready to go fight Helmsaur.
We do have a question in chat about how the blocks are disappearing for Zelga's and over in Checkerboard Cave. That is the mirror glitch, which basically, by using the mirror, you just somehow delete the blocks. I actually don't know all the coding behind it, but for some reason it resets the state of the room, and because the blocks are moving, it does that. Of course, with the mirror having its function in dungeons to reset your dungeon progress, you can't exactly do it in dungeons, so it's only overworld that it matters in.
I tried that in Ice Palace once. I was not best pleased. But yeah, like you had said, the Japanese 1.0 version isn't really... They don't really like blocks that move. As you'll see at some point, our runners can fire rod through moving blocks, they can shoot things through moving blocks, they can hook shot through moving blocks. If you hit a mirror when blocks are moving, they just stop existing. It's just one of those weird things that was patched out in any of the later versions, but we insist on using the earlier ones because we play this game to break it. Nice little high five here between Relkin and Zelda.
Yes, and in case you're not familiar with the randomizer, of course, we don't require any glitch knowledge whatsoever, but minor glitches like the mirror glitch, are allowed, and we also allow some randomizer exclusive glitches that wouldn't normally be allowed in normal NMG runs to be used as well. Icebreaker and Diver Down are prime examples of those.
Alright, so with Helmsaur having bitten the dust, we are up to 4 crystals for Zelda already. Relkin is just a few short rooms away from his 4th. And then, yeah, we're going to be mirroring, heading over to Eastern.
Thousand Pals is a pretty straightforward dungeon here. Of course it is. This is the first dungeon after all.
Yeah, depending on where that big key is sitting, this could be really, really quick, or we might have to take a bit of a roundabout to go get it.
Yeah, he's got the bow out, so I'm gonna assume it's not gonna be that long. Wow, I didn't. Nice sniping there.
I saw that strat for the first time about a week ago, and I had the same reaction, like, what?
And it looks like it is in its vanilla chest, which is unfortunate, but happens sometimes.
Round and round and round we go. Nice murdering by Relkin. A wonderful silver arrow to the jewel, and that's going to be his fourth crystal. That was a really clean damage boost from Zelda there, taking the perfect heart and a half of damage.
Here, the lead between Zelda and Relkin here. Zelda's already halfway done with Eastern, whereas Relkin is only just getting started. The lead, I think, has grown, in fact. So I'm gonna say that maybe... What would you say, Hammer? Maybe about a minute 45 now?
Yeah, that seems like it. I don't want to put too much of a time on it at this point, since Zelga's going to be grabbing a crystal in a minute and we can get something more definitive.
Indeed.
But if I had to take a guess, I'd say another 10-15 seconds about, yeah.
Alright, last one coming up. 2 red Igors and 6 Popoys. And those Popoys taking very quick death there. And blink and you'll miss it, folks. The Armos Knights are very allergic to silver arrows. So basically, I'm not 100% sure about this or why it's like this, but the silver arrows do 100 damage, and basically each statue has less. Most bosses have less than 100 HP, so they die in one hit to them if they're vulnerable. Vitreous is the only exception to any of the normal bosses besides Ganon having 128 HP.
Yeah, and given how most of the boss stuff works, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the max HP given the amount of bits they allow for boss hit points. Ganon obviously having his own little section.
Possibly.
Bring out the hammer, smush the bird. Eventually someone's gonna do it and I'm gonna be so happy. Aww, just a toss.
The question chat is game 2 is tonight, and I can go ahead and answer that real quick. Just need to take a quick look at the schedule.
Oh no, I can tell you off the top of my head. So the game 2 and game 3, if required, are gonna be same time next 2 days. So game 2 is going to be tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern, and game 3 is going to be whatever the day after tomorrow is. Don't judge me. 8:15 Eastern. We also do have the finals. Those are coming up. Those start tomorrow at 9:15 Eastern, and those go on concurrent days as well. So tomorrow being Wednesday, unless I'm absolutely out of my mind, which I might be. Our finals matches are going to be 9:15 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that is a really friendly Meyer Big Key. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, that is a very nice Meyer in general. Yeah, folks, restream is still to be determined on the other races, but we are most definitely going to try to get you one. Because why wouldn't we? This is the final matches of the tournament.
Yeah, sorry. So for those in chat who are asking, PM. Ignore the dingus in the booth over here who doesn't know to specify AM and PM. My bad. All right, Relkin, if you were listening, pull out that hammer, buddy. Do it. It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Nice.
Leaving the bird alone, even. Meanwhile, Torch Glitch from Zelda. Very well executed there.
Yeah, Spooky Mire is one of those things I still don't fully understand, but man, is it amazing to watch when it goes really well.
And I blinked, and I'm already seeing half the eyeballs gone from Vitreous here.
Step 1, pull out silvers. Step 2, don't hit the back wall. Step 3, eyeball gelato.
And there we go. That is the last crystal match. Oh, no, wait, I spoke too soon. I thought he already went to the desert.
Holy cow, no, Zelga's not that fast. Goodness gracious, man. You're insane.
I missed. I thought he went to the desert first, but no, he is not.
Is that like the concurrent addition to blink and you miss at boss fights? Blink and you miss at desert. Although, to be fair, if the big key is sitting here, like, on the torch, it might be a blink and you miss it desert.
So, people are wondering when Zelda had time to go get the lamp, and simple answer is Zelda, instead of mirroring and fluting to the swamp region, decided to walk over there and picked up the lamp en route after doing Thieves Town. So that is when Zelda got the lamp.
Alright, and Relkin looking to follow the same easy steps that Zelda did. Oh, we just have enough arrows. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
Yeah, Relkin is going to need to find some more arrows in the future in order to defeat Ganon with them. And even get up to GT as well.
Let's see. There are 5 here in the back of Desert. So with half magic, Relkin could use Fire Rod strats and save a couple there, which would put him 5 up, because I think there's 5 in one of these 4 pots up here in the next room for Zelda. There's also 10 in that room off to the side just before the big chest if you wanted to kind of take a little bit of a detour, but that's a bit out of the way, so I doubt it. Let's see. Yeah, this could be one of those. Oh, there's also 5 there. Nice. I did not know those existed.
Yeah, knowing where guaranteed pot drops are is there is nice. There's also one in the center pots coming up here on the other side.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to get that far.
The big key was vanilla, I believe, so.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was vanilla. That's right. No, for some reason I wasn't thinking we were going to be over there. Yeah, this center pot is 5 as well.
Alright, folks.
And yeah.
There's the 7th crystal now. Not jumping ahead of myself here. And ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go into Ganon's Tower, and we have a game we like to play, but we put a twist on it here at the Spoiler Log Tournament. We have 22 chests in Ganon's Tower, only one of which can have the big key. However, the runners know which chest has the big key already. So there's no point in guessing a number, because they are going to get that chest as soon as possible. So instead of a chest number, give us the specific location to where you think the big key will be today.
I think it's going to be in the last chest I check. I'll tell you what, those dead rocks were doing their darndest to really give Zelda what for, just barely getting those out of the way. And there's the forlorn powder, just sitting there on the ledge. Alright, so, Wolfling, do you have a favorite spot for these? I'm not going to ask you where you think it is, because even though I don't think either of us explicitly checked, we do have access to Spoiler Log.
My personal favorite spot for the big key to show up, regardless of where it, if I know where it is or not, is the compass chest, because I just like having it pop up of all the holes around you, and you just get the big key. I don't know why, I just like that.
So is that on the right side with the 4 chests? Is that the
Yeah,
one
it's
you're
right side of
talking
the 4 chest, and it's the top left chest.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a pretty good spot. I like that spot. My personal favorite is Bob's chest, because then you get to play hey, it's Ice Armos. Just kidding. Ice Armos obviously being the absolute worst place for a situation. Wow, that's interesting. Zelda is skipping that small key. Wait. Are we gonna see him open the? Yep, I knew it. All right, so I think it's Hope Room, or maybe that Compass Room actually. Oh my goodness, it could be Tile Room too. That'd be funny as heck. Nope.
It could be Compass Room based on this. Because you go left as you were going to Bob's room, I believe, or Random Room.
I don't know. Depending on Zelga's confidence, it could also be Bob's chest or Ice Armos. There's a bit of debate for which one's faster, and I think it does kind of depend with how comfortable you are with either direction. Zelga's showing off that lovely kicker's leg there, giving the Samaria block a boot. You were close.
Yeah, it was in Compass Room, bottom right. So I think at this point we can talk about where the armor is. Do you say?
Yeah, might as well mail it in.
Funny. So one of the armors.
Don't lie to me. That was not funny. Don't say that.
No, it was not funny. So anyway, folks, the first of the armors is actually here in Ganon's Tower, but it's in the randomized room, so no runners are going to be getting that. And then the other armor was back in Swamp Palace. It was labeled. I believe it was left side because it's labeled as the west chest, which probably means the one that's furthest left in the dungeon.
Yeah, that's correct. It's not the vanilla big key chest, it's the other one over there. That's hilarious. I just said it because it would be funny if it were there. And, well, the game is showing us that memes are memes for a reason. Hey, speaking of memes, where was that ice rod sitting?
That was on Agina.
That would have been terrible. Oh no, could you imagine doing this on a spoiler log? You get that ice rod at like Sphere 1, and then you have to go into TR. Like, you're clearing it. You just are. There's no way you're not clearing that. Same thing for Ice Palace, actually. There's no way you wouldn't have cleared it.
I counterpoint that with the fact that because the Quake Knight was in Checkerboard Cave, they could have just checked that back to back, and as a result, they knew where both of them were. If Turtle Rock was required, they would check Agina just because they're like, okay, I'm not going in there without the ice rod unless I have to. But yeah, speaking of the desert region, the Book of Medora, we should probably mention, was in the big chest of Swamp Palace. And I might have accidentally let this one slip earlier. But the secret passage chest, which I thought Relkin picked up but actually didn't, did in fact have the bug catching net.
Alright, so speaking of blink and you miss it, that was the gauntlet. It's supposed to be difficult. I promise it's difficult. Zelda didn't make it look like it was difficult, but it is. So there's your PSA for that.
So, well, of course, we are also missing 4 bottles here, and I'm going to go set where they are and whatever they had in them. One of which we've already found from Relkin was in Waterfall Cave. That had a bottle with the gold bee in it. Another one was in Pod with the gold bee. We had another one in Turtle Rock on the bottom right of Laser Bridge with the gold bee in it. And then last but not least, trying to find it again. Hang on.
So does that make those 3 the golden BO?
So the last one was in Hookshot Cave, bottom right, and it had nothing in it.
Sorry, I'm still laughing at golden BO. You have to give me a minute.
Alright, so we're about to see boulder arm 2 fight here. 2 slashes, and that's all Zelda needs. There we go. Relkin isn't that far behind, but needs to definitely catch up here.
Yeah, and Moldorm 2 is giving him one less opportunity there. That's a quick way to lose about a minute to 45 seconds, depending on how unfortunate you get bonked down, but at this point it is looking like it's Zelga's race to lose, which isn't terribly surprising. Relkin did pretty much keep up, but Zelga had not died that one time and routed in the lamp a little bit more along the way than Relkin did, so those two did kind of give him a bit of a lead, and it's pretty much just stayed that way the whole race.
So we've got a single here, and another double. There could have been a double in the first phase, but I think it synced up in such a way that it didn't count.
Oh,
and yeah, sure enough, it didn't. Oh, nope. Yeah, it didn't. There we go. Another double here to wrap things up.
And those patterns, let me just say, those were not fun. Like, the spoiler log doesn't give you AGA 2 patterns, and, yeah, those were not, I do not wish those on anyone.
Yeah, that would take a lot of extra work to give you Aghanim's patterns. But anyway, it's time to fight the pig, which is, with Gold Sword, 6 slashes a phase. No spin attacks are required, but they do help in getting double hits.
Well, there you go. Eat some whole grain, guys.
And this is a prime position for phase 2. We do have the Kate to fall back on if need be. And Zelga's going to take full advantage of the cape here, just getting out of the way. Held the wall there a little bit, and that actually was important because it prevented Zelga's magic from being drained during the cape use.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite little glitches. If you have the cape on, and you just hold a wall, magic doesn't do anything. You can just hold on to that wall indefinitely. It's really nice.
So I think Relkin actually finished the Ganon fight one cycle faster.
Yes, it was very nicely done. And at this point, we are a Ganon fall away. I don't think Zelga's going to do it. Now that I've said that, I'm so terribly sorry. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I think we'll be okay, though. Nice double there. Probably not going to get the torch.
It's
oh, are you kidding me? He got the torch glitch anyways.
That is a very clean Ganon pattern. That was just set up perfectly for a 1-2, 1-2 punch. And ladies and gentlemen, that is zelgadissan taking game 1 here of the bronze match. The official SRL time for that is his first place with a time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, 25 seconds. Do bear in mind, however, that that does include the 15-minute study period, so his actual time is 56 minutes, 25 seconds. Still a sub-hour pace. This is actually a really good seed.
That is, especially since we had to dive into 2 pendants, and one of them diving pretty far in. Relkin not having to spin here, but doing it because you might as well. We get bored.
Alright, one more hit for Relkin to enter phase 3. Triple! Just to end things off right there before the final hit. And that is going to wrap things up here for Relkin here, folks. Good, strong comeback. Did not actually lose that much time overall. And that is Relkin finishing in second place with an official time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, 40 seconds. Actual race time is 57 minutes, 40 seconds because that doesn't, once again, include the 15-minute study period.
Yeah, and really nicely done from both these runners, finishing this well under an hour, even considering all of the kind of insanity we had to go through. It wasn't as terrible as it could have been, but grabbing that medallion for Meyer was a bit more work than we would have liked in terms of going fast.
Yeah, the routes were just... The routes were pretty similar. It was just the opening that was really different. Relkin going... making the aggressive play to try to get the glove early at a dark cross, and unfortunately dying to a rope. Oh, whereas Zelda decided to go a little bit safer, take the Kakariko, get the sword, get the hammer, get the bow, and then came back later to go get that. And that ended up proving to allow Zelda to not take a death, which made it so that Zelda didn't have that much of a time loss.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is really, really, really hard to do any dark rooms, honestly, with absolutely nothing in hand. And I'm pretty sure that Relkin at that point had maybe a Cane of Samaria with like 1 use worth of magic in it and like 3 bombs. And that is not an ideal situation to get to the Dark Cross or any dark room. And it's one of those things where it can happen. You kind of make a gamble. If Relkin had pulled it off, then he would have had the better route from only having to single dip Kakariko. And that would have potentially given quite a bit of a lead, but the death unfortunately turning against him, and then that's just kind of how it turned out this go around.
Indeed. We do have, of course, both runners on standby, so let's go ahead and pull them up. And we are now joined by zelgadissan and Relkin. Both of them put on an excellent race for today. Zelda, of course, coming out the winner here in Game 1. GG's to you both. Walk us through your routing here.
Hey, GG's. When I was going through it, the first thing I noticed on top of just the trashy spots of like boots and hard required for ether and stuff were just how few safeties were actually really readily available. Like the cape on blind was kind of the best thing we had. Not many hearts around. So yeah, trying to piece the route together throughout the seed while still trying to stay safe was actually a little bit of a challenge that took me a bit longer than I expected.
Hey now, that powder was sitting right there on Floating Island, and you walked by it several times.
Right there, it takes like 30 plus seconds to get.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time. Yeah, this seed was not fun in terms of safeties, and as Wolf Link had mentioned before, there were 4 bottles. 1 of them was empty, and 3 of them had golden bees, so you couldn't even really get a free potion that way.
I mean, I did. Because the bottle was in Waterfall Fairy, and the fairy gave me a free green potion.
I saw that the Pyramid Fairy had a free red, so I was seriously considering doing that same play until I saw it was the Pyramid Fairy. Like, I've got half magic as my literal first chest, so hopefully I don't need a green potion.
Yeah, and green potions are nice, but until you end up getting that cape, that green potion's not going to save your butt, especially not with half magic. And even then, it's kind of limited in where you can use the cape, and obviously with you guys being as good as you are, you don't ever really need the cape at all anyways. It's just kind of like, well, I might use it for Ganon just because I don't feel like dodging, but it didn't end up being a big deal, I don't think, for either of you. Or at least you didn't really play like it was. You guys weren't really low on health during too many of the fights. Thieves' Town's kind of iffy, but that's scary on Green Mail because everything there does 2 hearts. You turn around and you get cricketed twice and you're down to 2 hearts, and it's scary. But other than that, you guys played really, really well.
Thanks. Yeah, it seemed like once we got through like the first 2 or 3 minutes, it seemed like we had essentially the exact same route planned out. So that's always kind of cool. I know Divergence is always also really cool, but it's also nice to see when like 2 really good runners get together and say, okay, this is exactly what needs to happen, and then both people find it. I do like that.
It's also probably a lot less stressful for you guys, because I know you guys are probably watching each other's stream at the very least. I know that there was some banter going on in the restream, so I can only assume you guys were at least keeping half an eye on the other person. And if you see something like a completely and totally different route, that's going to get your brain just motoring like, crap, did I forget something? Is doing this first really faster? Whereas if you see someone pretty much doing either the same thing that you just did or the same thing that you're planning on doing a minute from now, it's just kind of confirmation. Yeah, I did this correctly. I routed this correctly. I'm on the right road. I can just worry about not dying and moving as fast as I can.
Yeah, you nailed it pretty much. Like, I wasn't fully watching the restream, but like crystal cutscenes or like in desert when the torches are moving, I could kind of glance over and make sure everything's moving as I expect it to. So definitely kind of keeping tabs.
I will also say this much: both of your Argus fights were just perfect, like absolutely perfect. I have not seen a cleaner Argus fight in a long time.
Yo, I did easy mode style. Relkin, this gamer had to do poke dash strats. What a guy.
I mean, it's only one extra input, basically.
Yeah, one extra frame perfect input. Yeah, get out.
But yeah, other than that, the one major turning point is, and if this was a normal seed, that Quake medallion was in a horrible location, and the Ether medallion as well.
No kidding. My goodness.
I mean, I wouldn't put the Quake in such a bad spot. I definitely put Ether in a very bad spot, but Quake wasn't like terrible.
Quake was in a spot where if you were playing this without the spoiler log, you're kind of running around. You're like, okay, you take a look at Meyer. You're like, okay, this is what I need for Meyer. You probably already know what you need for Turtle Rock, and then you walk over, you grab the medallion. You're like, of course, it's a Turtle Rock medallion. Great, wonderful. This is exactly what I wanted to see. So it would have been kind of a very sarcastic ha-ha from the seed if you didn't have the spoiler log. But no, getting that Meyer medallion was a pain.
Yeah, and also if this was not a spoiler log seed, your brain would probably just like, okay, I'm not going to Turtle Rock about the ice route, but the ice route just literally jump down the cliff and go to see Agina. And then they'll see is like, okay, I guess you're going to Turtle Rock, then full clear it.
Yeah, when I knew it was a pendant, but I didn't realize what was on the boss yet. I knew I had to go to Turtle Rock. I had figured out the boots were required. So I had already kind of marked the ice rod to pick up, and then eventually I was like, oh, I can just cut this out. I don't actually have to do it.
Well, GG's
Yeah,
to both.
Go ahead.
Well, GG's to both of you once again. I can't think of anything more to ask you, but this is not over between you two yet. You still have a game to play tomorrow, starting at 8:15, like we mentioned earlier. Relkin, you are looking to try to get bronze here, or against Zelda, who's already a game up. Are you looking forward to this?
I would just like to take a game at least. This is it's pretty much exactly the same as my match against Kyong. Really got to pull out all the stops to win.
Yeah, speaking of someone who wants to take a game, I think we're all just kind of hoping that, Kyong's going to get a game taken at some point during this tournament.
Yeah, he's the defending champion for a reason. I'll put it that way.
That's very fair.
This is a perfect mode for someone with his execution and his routing knowledge.
But yeah, like Wolflink alluded to, I think we are just about done here. So did either of you want to add anything before we head on out for the night?
I would just say GG's again to Relkin. Was a fun race. And thank you guys for doing the commentary and the tracking and the restream and everything. Really appreciate it.
Yep, thanks again. GG's Zelda. I'm gonna win a game. I mean, I say that just to make myself feel more confident, but we'll see how it actually goes.
I can believe it, man. You're here for a reason. You made it really good in this tournament.
Thanks, man. But yeah, thanks again for the restream tracking commentary as always, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
Awesome. We will be here.
Yep. And thank you for racing with us. Folks, make sure to follow these two runners here. They put on an excellent race for us tonight. Relkin and our winner, of course, Zelda. Of course, make sure to also follow SpeedGaming at SpeedGaming 2 through 6 so you don't miss any racing action, not just the Spoiler Log Tournament, because this is our last week here. We've only got the last 2 games of bronze and then the finals to go. Potentially last 2 games of bronze anyway. And of course, make sure to also follow my co-commentator Hammer and our tracker Samamas as well. And you can drop me a follow as well. But for all of us here at the Link to Best Randomizer Spoiler Log Tournament, I have been Wolflink0370, and we shall see you all next time, and thank you for watching. Have a good night, everyone.